Impact was on people's nerves.
Everything just went dark and it was shaking. And all I could think of was my kids.
And my husband just jumped out of bed and ran in, and we all thought the big one was here.
It wasn't, not at 6.1 on the Richter scale, but in a geographic sense, it was close, with the quake's epicenter in the Little San Bernardino Mountains only a handful of miles from the San Andreas Fault on which the big one will someday occur. Seismologists were keeping an eye on the literally hundreds of aftershocks.
None of them were near the San Andreas Fault, which is an encouraging sign. We have a significantly less chance that it's going to be a foreshock to something on the San Andreas. It's down probably around the 5% level by now.
Wednesday night's quake left problems enough for Joshua Tree, population 2,700, the community hit hardest by what is now known as the Joshua Tree quake. Losing part of a wall was Kim's coffee shop.
And we checked the building around, and I said, well, check that bedroom of yours, and he did, and he said, Dad, he says, I got a room with a view.
Amid the quake-caused disarray at the Sunwest Villa apartments, some were so fearful of aftershocks they could not bring themselves to sleep inside. But few relished the idea of camping out again.
I ought to get to sleep tonight. My mom's supposed to wire me some money so I can rent a motel for a couple nights.
But a number of mobile home residents are not yet able to return home. Betty Bledsoe among them, the quake knocking her unit clean off its underpinnings.
All's well that ends well. Nobody was hurt, and that's the important thing.
Patrick Healy reporting. Firefighters in Los Angeles had to perform a daring and dangerous rescue Thursday afternoon. An electrical fire at this 12-story garment factory forced employees onto the fire escape. Firefighters climbed up to the 4th floor and pulled them to safety one by one. About 65 firefighters had to be called to the factory to help bring the blaze under control. It all paid off. There were no reports of injuries. There were no arrests Thursday in Buffalo, where protesters on both sides of the abortion issue have been sparring for the past week. More than 100 abortion rights demonstrators gathered in front of a clinic, and 100 anti-abortion protesters lined up across the street. Abortion opponents blocked 2 back doors to a women's clinic on Thursday, but moved away when police told them they would be arrested. Coming up on NBC Nightside, Native Americans are protesting the name of a new beer. We'll tell you why. And later, old age, well, it's just a state of mind.
Hi, I'm Tim Paulson, Vice President of Hair Club for Men, and of course, I'm also a client. I'm proud to announce that Hair Club has just made a dramatic improvement in our strand-by-strand system of hair replacement, the Polyfuse method. Call our toll-free number now and we'll send you our new brochure describing in detail our latest innovation, the Polyfuse method.
So why call it Polyfuse? Because by applying a polymer to your existing hair, it will literally fuse with the new hair we add. And believe me, even when I run my fingers through Sean's hair, it still feels natural, like his own, even when the hair blows around. It looks very natural. Even when wet, Gerard's hair still looks like it's all his own.
So make sure you call our toll-free number now to find out more about our dramatic improvement, the Polyfuse method from Hair Club for Men.
Don't forget, we stand behind it. And remember, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
A brand of beer being distributed on the East Coast is being called an insult to Native Americans. The high-alcohol malt liquor is named Crazy Horse, and South Dakota's governor, a Native American newspaper publisher, and the U.S. Surgeon General held a news conference this week to denounce the way the product is being marketed. They think naming it after the Lakota spiritual leader, Crazy Horse, is an insult to all Indians. They are asking the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to rescind its approval of the product. There's controversy in the business world over just how strong the economy is. CNBC's Dean Shepard reports.
It's springtime and recovery is in the air as Americans appear more willing to buy big-ticket items. The nation's 2 biggest automakers saw a healthy boost in domestic car sales in mid-April. General Motors reports sales for the period rose 6.9%. Ford sales shot up 10.7%. Chrysler only reports on a monthly basis, but Ward's Automotive estimates that Chrysler sales fell by 13.6%. Car sales helped boost durable goods figures for March. Orders for big-ticket items from the nation's factories rose a stronger than expected 1.6% last month. February orders were revised to show no change from January's levels. And more good news, this time from the jobless front. 12,000 fewer Americans filed first-time claims for jobless benefits in mid-April, bringing the total number down to 404,000, the lowest level in 6 months. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained just under 10 points on the trading session. Dow component DuPont has agreed to swap its global acrylics business for the worldwide nylon operations of Britain's Imperial Chemical Industries. ICI would also get cash on the order of $430 million. DuPont, which invented nylon back in the late 1930s, says that the deal will make it the world's #1 supplier of nylon products. And that's a look at business news. I'm Sue Herrera for Nightside.
You might think a 577-pound American sumo wrestler could do a body slam anywhere he wants. You'd probably be right. But fans of one sumo wrestler say he isn't getting the recognition he deserves because he's not Japanese. Japanese officials are quick to deny the racism charge being leveled by the quarter-ton American Samoan Salava Atasanoto. The goal of most sumo wrestlers is to become yokozuna, or a grand champion, and Atasano has met the criteria by winning 2 of his last 3 tournaments. Let's go now to Bob Ryan for the weather outlook.
Some nighttime showers and thunder showers have swept through Ohio, moving on into New York State, and another area out through Nebraska and Iowa with a few lonesome showers. No big storm, but that moisture will continue moving toward the east and eventually cause a rather cloudy, wet weekend through much of the east and the northeast. Out west, there's also another area of cloudiness coming ashore. Nighttime temperatures in the Pacific Northwest have been in 30s and 40s. It's been rather mild in the desert Southwest, where temperatures have been in the 60s, also rather mild through the mid-Atlantic states. One more warm day from the Carolinas on into Virginia, where temperatures will be in the 80s. Meanwhile, the desert Southwest really heating up, temperatures well up in the 90s to near 100 degrees. That area of clouds and showers will continue moving to the east. It'll be a cool, wet day through much of central and northern New England. Some afternoon showers and thunder showers extending down the Appalachians. The cool air around the lakes and the plains will push to the east coast as the weekend approaches, but it will be one more warm day from Florida to the Carolinas. Meanwhile, for parts of the northern and central Rockies, basically sunny skies, temperatures in the 60s in the Pacific Northwest with some late-day showers. That's the latest on the weather. Bob Ryan for Nightside.
Coming up, the golden years for some are a lot more than rocking chairs and shuffleboard. We'll have a report on life after 80. And later, the Stanley Cup playoffs continue. Mark Barger has highlights.
The BBC, Turner Broadcasting, and Time Life Video dare you to take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life, the gripping, award-winning nature video series that exposes the struggle to survive through uncensored, shocking photography. Join acclaimed naturalist David Attenborough for a close encounter with raw nature as you've never seen it before. Violent footage shows you the life and death struggle to survive in a harsh and brutal world. The quest for food, the thrill of the hunt, and the strategy of the kill. The battle for supremacy, the relentless drive to continue the bloodline, and the miracle of birth. Trials of Life is a first-hand account of the struggle to survive in a savage, untamed environment. Call this toll-free number now to receive Hunting and Escaping for $9.99. You'll see up close why the law of the jungle is kill or be killed. Try Hunting and Escaping. If it captures your interest, you can get other videos about every other month. Each tape explores the harsh realities of survival in the animal world. Trials of Life is a video series that will change the way you look at nature and yourself. People magazine calls Trials of Life visually stunning. Entertainment Weekly says Trials of Life is one of the liveliest nature shows ever. See the deadly art of survival in the wild in Trials of Life. Some scenes may not be suitable for younger viewers. Take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life. Call now to order Hunting and Escaping for $9.99 and find out why we call them animals.
To order your Trials of Life, call 1-800-346-0600 or send $9.99 plus $3.23 shipping and handling to Trials of Life, Grand Central Station, P.O. Box 5294, Department L-238, New York, New York, 10163.
When you're a kid, 40 is middle-aged, and 50, well, that's over the hill. Then you get older. Today, people are living longer and healthier lives with a greater emphasis on fitness and vitality. Seniors are rejecting the stereotypes of the past. Linda Brashears has more.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dave.
It's cause for celebration. Turning 80-something, that is.
Blow, Dave, blow.
Not long ago, people just didn't make it this far. But now, many seniors are healthier, and some are even learning to let the good times roll. Jim Wise didn't start bowling until he was 60, and now at age 88, he often breaks 200.
Some of them tell me I can't believe it. When I tell them how old I am, they say they can't believe it. I said, well, whether you can believe it or not, I was born in 1903, so.
Well, now, if you can get some more strikes, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Art Kramer views his 80s much like his approach to the sport. He takes it slow and easy.
If you are fortunate enough to retain your health, you relax. You're not in a hurry, or at least I'm not. After I retired, I found out I wasn't in as big a hurry as I thought I was.
Ann Westerman isn't in a big hurry either, but she sure keeps herself busy. She's responsible for running a 28-acre ranch, and in her spare time, she works with the young, teaching these four-legged animals an art form.
I like to drive, I like to show, and I show to win.
Call it determination, call it the will to continue on, but this 81-year-old woman makes it a policy not to look to the shadows of the past, but ahead to the possibilities of the future.
If you start sitting in a rocking chair, that's where you're going to end up. And I know it. So I keep going. I make myself go a little bit more than I have to sometimes, but if you don't, you're going to fall apart. That's all there is to it.
We have a white pelican.
Her name is Kathleen Goddard Jones, but most people call this 84-year-old woman the Dunes Lady.
This little plant here is called beach burr, and in the summertime it has the stickeriest burrs, and their favorite location is in between toes of human beings.
The beaten path is familiar, but like any good poem, you have to walk around in it for a while before you get something out of it.
Do you know how this trail was made?
She's interested in things that count. She's interested in ways to improve her life, not just for herself, but for others and those that follow on.
It used to be that your life was almost over at 60, and now you can see a whole new world opens up for you.
See, is that a little tougher that way? Yeah. Okay, keep your arms against the pack.
He's working each and every muscle in his 93-year-old body. His name is Dr. Paul Spangler, and he's living proof. If you take care of yourself, you'll live longer.
I've never felt better in my life than I feel now. And I wouldn't trade this period of my life for any other period of my life. But I think that's all because I've acquired physical fitness. I've gotten my weight down to where it ought to be, and I don't abuse my body.
Just his presence seems to motivate the people around him.
I just hope that when I'm 90-something that I'll be able to do that also.
But staying in shape takes a lot of work and dedication, and Dr. Spangler doesn't waste any time.
He's out here practically every morning, and he puts his fins on and swims by everybody. He's in a faster lane even than I am, and he's 90-something.
I'm going to swim another quarter mile.
Dot is 83 and married again to 96-year-old Bud Leopold. Living a long time, runs in Bud's family. He says you can tell just by looking at his ears.
I'll tell you why. I got long ears.
This is our two granddaughters.
Bertha Harburn never thought she'd live long enough to know her great-grandchildren. At 81, she and her husband Harold are enjoying their senior years with a very simple philosophy.
You worry about everything, it'll kill you. Our way of life is just one day at a time.
This 80-something couple has seen a lot of changes over the years, but the one thing they still can't believe?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Going to the moon.
All this space things, you know, that's going on. One's landing today and over here in the desert.
Well, here's a triple over right here, huh?
The Harburns and the Leopolds have both been dealt a pretty good hand in the game of life. Both couples don't worry too much about dying.
I thank God every day that I'm still here. I don't never forget it.
But they do worry about the future and what the world will be like for their grandchildren and future generations.
For NBC News, I'm Linda Brashears.
Great examples all. When we come back, NBA and NHL playoff highlights.
Jack Patton, publisher of Business Week.
I'm proud that so many leading companies advertise in our pages. American Express, AT&T, General Motors. Business Week ad pages read like a who's who of business. Why do so many successful companies choose our pages to tell their stories? Because they're trying to reach people like you. People who are successful themselves or well on their way to being there. Just look at the numbers. You see, I'm just as proud of our readers too, because they help make Business Week the world's #1 business magazine. America's most successful business people read Business Week because it's simply the best source for objective reporting and thoughtful analysis of the week's business news, from international trade to personal finance. They get the full story in our pages every week. And that brings me to your subscription to Business Week. Whether you've already arrived or on the way up, you should subscribe to Business Week right now. You will be in excellent company.
Now is the time to subscribe to Business Week, because right now you can get 28 issues of Business Week for the low rate of $24.95, a savings of more than 64% off the cover price. It's all the business news you need every week, the kind of value real success is built on. And with your paid subscription, Business Week will send you the compact data bank, absolutely free. The data bank is more than a calculator. It also stores all your important phone numbers and doubles as a digital clock. Remember, it's free with your paid subscription to Business Week. Here's how to subscribe.
Subscribe today and get all the week's business news delivered to your home or office. Just call 1-800-342-2800 and we'll send you 28 issues of Business Week for only $24.95. That's just 89 cents an issue. This low rate saves you $45 off the cover price. The data bank is free with your paid subscription. That number again is 1-800-342-2800. Call now.
Mark Barger is here now with sports. Mark, a lot of people underestimated LA, and
including us.
Yes, we certainly did. We didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, but they did.
Yeah, that's right. Last time this week, we were counting them out, had them down for the count, but they made it, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But first, 2 NBA coaches lost their jobs yesterday. Another one is about to take a new job. Denver showed Paul Westhead the door, and Milwaukee did the same thing to Frank Hamlin. Meantime, in Phoenix, Suns boss Cotton Fitzsimmons announced he is moving to the team's front office after the playoffs. His assistant and former Suns player Paul Westphal takes over next season. And meantime, playoff action did start last night. The Lakers were there going at it against Portland. And Mike Dunleavy's team finished with a flourish, as we said, just to make the playoffs. But Portland might have made them wish they'd stayed home. Clyde Drexler and Jerome Kersey back in the Blazer lineup. They team up on the break there, and Portland whips L.A. in Game 1, 115-102. Around the NBA, we had the Cavaliers winning their opener over the Nets 120-113. The Celtics came back to beat the Pacers, and it was Golden State falling to Seattle. Sean Kemp had 28 as Seattle won that ball game. The Washington Capitals were looking to push Pittsburgh to the brink of playoff elimination in the NHL last night, trying to grab a 3-0 lead in their best-of-7 series. The Pittsburgh Puckheads were out trying to bring their team back to life, and in the second period, it worked. Jaromir Jagr got this power play goal to break a 2-all tie, and then late in the period, his buddy Mario Lemieux scored twice, and Pittsburgh won it 6-4, but they still trail in the series 2-1. Around the NHL, we had the Devils winning last night. They lead that series 2-1. It was Hartford 5-2 winners over Montreal, and Boston 3-2 winners over Buffalo. On to baseball, where Baltimore's off to its best start in 19 years, and Kansas City's off to its worst start ever. And none of that changed last night. The Orioles roughed up the Royals pitching staff. Brady Anderson tagged Mark Davis for this 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, and that was by no means the end. 4th inning, the Orioles score 4-2 off the double by Cal Ripken, and Baltimore beats Kansas City 8-1. Around the American League, we had Milwaukee winning. So did Seattle. Toronto over Cleveland. Baltimore victorious, and so was Detroit. It was creative headwear day at Wrigley Field yesterday as the Cubs hosted the Phillies. But Philadelphia spoiled things for the home team. Kim Baptiste with his first Major League home run, and the Phillies beat the Cubs 8-2. Around the National League, we had the Expos winning over the Pirates. The Mets beat the Cardinals in 13. And again, the Phillies 8-2 winners over the Cubs. That's it.
All right. We'll be back with more of Nightside.
More than 1 million satisfied Ourisman customers say it best.
I would say I probably saved between $1,000 and $2,000 coming to Ourisman Toyota.
We shopped around the 3 largest Honda dealerships in the area, and at Ourisman we saved about $2,000.
I did check around a lot all the way down to Greensboro, North Carolina, but I got a real good price out here at Ourisman Mitsubishi.
Ourisman Fairfax Toyota, Virginia. Ourisman Honda, Bethesda, Maryland. And Ourisman Mitsubishi, Marlow Heights, Maryland, where you get your way every day.
On the next hard copy, one guy caught in the middle of 2 strippers. One, a dancer in San Francisco's wildest sex party of the year. Police say the other was jealous enough to hire a hitman to do in her rival.
She voiced a little bit of concern about getting caught.
In court, her alleged plot was revealed, but she says it was all a love game gone too far. Was it murder for hire? On hard copy.
Friday at 4 on Channel 4.
At a time when the airlines are engaged in an all-out fare war, it seems there's an even cheaper way to fly. Alan Chernoff tells us about a company that specializes in student airfares, and they're passing on these low prices to the general public.
College junior Kimberly Herring is buying a round-trip ticket from New York to Frankfurt with a stop in London for just $570.
I saved over $300 because I was calling different airlines and all of them were like $900.
Council Travel serves primarily students at its offices around the world. What few people realize is that many of Council's bargain fares are available to the general public.
On a broad level, we're definitely the cheapest.
The company specializes in international flights, offering prices 10 to 50% off regular fares. For example, the normal round-trip fare from Chicago to Tokyo is $1,260. Council charges $850. New York to Hong Kong is normally $1,240. At Council, it's $840. How do they do it? The company is owned by the nonprofit Council on International Educational Exchange. Since so much of Council Travel's business is for educational purposes, it's able to negotiate airline discounts, many of which it can pass along to the general public.
We're very busy. I would recommend anyone come in if they want to.
How long were you waiting on the phone?
Well, I gave up, then came over here instead.
But for dollar-conscious travelers who are willing to put up with some inconvenience, Council Travel can provide great bargains. For NBC News, I'm Alan Chernoff.
Stay with us. We'll take a look at this week's hottest videos next.
People all across America are telling us about their red, itchy skin rash problems.
My left foot was killing me. It was just itching between the toes. Burning and itching together.
Well, it's heat rash. It itches. The skin is red. It's irritated. And it's annoying. It's itchy.
I drove a truck for a number of years. And a lot of times, with your back up against the seat, you get like a heat rash. It was red. It was itchy, like a blotchy sort of a rash.
I'm a bricklayer by trade. When I used to go to work, I used to, you know, if I was outside and the sun was beating down on me, it used to dry my skin out. And it used to make my arms itchy.
But people everywhere are getting relief using Triple Action Gold Bond Medicated Powder.
After a shower, then I would apply Gold Bond medicated powder in between the toes. And just absolutely terrific. Your feet are comfortable, and don't have any more problems.
Gold Bond made my skin feel cool, it refreshed it, and I feel very comfortable no matter where I go.
Well, Gold Bond medicated powder does it all. The second I put it on, it stopped the itch, it cooled, it stayed with me. You know, throughout the day, you could still feel that cooling sensation.
My mother always used Gold Bond ever since I was yay high. There's 4 boys in the family, and she used it for everything. Gold Bond helped the pain, helped the itches.
Gold Bond's triple action is like 3 great powders in one. It has the absorbing action of powder, the medicating action of a proven itch fighter, and the drying action of zinc oxide. That's triple action Gold Bond.
It stops the pain instantly. Gold Bond powder. That's the difference between a good day and a bad day. Without it, it's a bad day.
Gold Bond stops the itch. To me, there's nothing like it. Where I go, it goes.
Gold Bond medicated powder. I have it on right now.
Gold Bond does a lot. Gold Bond's my product.
Try triple action Gold Bond medicated powder.
It's a big week for new movies at the local video store. Mark Gretschmill has a preview.
Well, he's not normal, thank God. And he's certainly not happy.
Jodie Foster plays a single mom getting lots of advice about her little boy. The 7-year-old is a genius, and people like psychologist Diane Weiss want to send him away to get special instruction. What's a mom to do?
How about if we just say, see you tomorrow? Just that a goodbye, huh?
Foster also served as director. Little Man Tate is rated PG.
But you don't have to speak and dress so, how do I put this? Black? Well, yes, black.
The comedy Strictly Business stars Joseph Phillips as an uptight businessman who falls for the lovely Halle Berry. Mailroom clerk Tommy Davidson offers to make introductions in exchange for getting into the firm's executive training program. This very average film is rated PG-13.
Then I would have been a well-adjusted person. Depends on what you call normal.
And finally, the drama My Own Private Idaho stars Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix as 2 male hustlers trying to survive. It's rated R. That's your video wrap-up. I'm Mark Gretschmill for NBC News.
And now for a look at how your favorite movies fared at the video store last week. The Fisher King topped the video rental charts, followed by Boys in the Hood, Dead Again, Other People's Money, and Shattered. I'm Sarah James, and this is NBC Nightside, a production of NBC News Channel, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Good morning, I'm Bruce Hall, and this is NBC Nightside. Almost 2/3 of all rape cases involve women under the age of 18. That according to a new study just released. Steve Handelsman has details.
The survey found most rape victims are children. By the age of 18, 1 girl in 13 has been forced to have intercourse, and half of those are raped before they're 11 years old. All told, 13% of U.S. women will be raped. 680,000 every year. Researchers for the National Victims Center came up with those astoundingly high numbers in a year-long nationwide telephone survey of 4,000 women. Another shocker from the study, who's committing the crime. Those surveyed said only 22% are strangers, that 78% of the rapists were friends and relatives, brothers and fathers. Researchers say that means anti-rape counseling has got to change.
Because what we're preventing against is the people that these women and girls and adolescents know. It's not so much preventing themselves from attack by a stranger.
They point to the Kennedy Smith rape trial, where accuser Patricia Bowman failed to keep her identity confidential, and the Tyson rape trial, where the same problem plagued Desiree Washington. They say to get rape victims out of the shadows and to reduce rape in America, a top priority should be to increase confidentiality for rape victims.
He covered me with a blanket.
In Washington, Steve Handelsman for NBC News.
The wreckage of a sightseeing plane has been found on a mountainside on the Hawaiian island of Maui. There were no signs of survivors. 9 people were on board the twin-engine Beech 18 aircraft. The plane was carrying tourists when it went down Wednesday. Los Angeles police are bracing for trouble in the streets once a verdict is announced in the Rodney King beating trial. Jury deliberations began on Thursday. Now jurors are sequestered in a hotel for the night. Fernell Chapman reports.
A jury of 6 men and 6 women will be sequestered during deliberations. This bus will shuttle them back and forth from the courthouse to a local hotel until verdicts are reached. They will determine the fate of 4 LAPD officers whose activities were captured by an amateur photographer as motorist Rodney King was beaten. Final instructions to the jury were unexpectedly delayed because of defense allegations of misconduct against prosecutor Terry White. The incident in question came yesterday as White concluded his final argument with these comments as he approached defendant Lawrence Powell.
This is the man, and look at him. This man laughed. This man taunted.
That barrage and other statements by White prompted a call today for a mistrial by defense attorney Michael Stone. He accused White of prosecutorial misconduct.
I feel, to put it in plain and simple terms, that I've been slimed. And I think the slime has landed on my client.
Judge Weisberg denied the motion for a mistrial, then gave the jury their final instructions. If convicted of all charges, Officer Powell could be sentenced to 7 years and 8 months in prison. Officer Wind, 7 years in prison. Sergeant Coon's maximum sentence could be 4 years and 8 months. And Officer Brasino, 4 years in prison. Fernell Chapman for NBC News.
It took a Baton Rouge jury only 90 minutes to convict a Louisiana man of spousal rape. Willie Williams was charged with raping his wife in front of their 2 children, ages 2 and 5. Janice Williams testified that her husband broke into their home, beat her, and made her perform sexual acts in front of the couple's children. Mrs. Williams says the verdict restores her faith in the system. She hopes the verdict will help other women involved in similar situations. Minnesota has a new health care plan that may become a model for the rest of the country. Governor Arne Carlson signed the measure on Thursday, saying that they are at the forefront of an effort to make health care accessible and affordable. The bill establishes a state-subsidized insurance program called Health Right. They expect 158,000 people to be served by the program by the year 1997 and believe other states may follow Minnesota's lead.
They will analyze our approaches. They will make decisions as to whether or not those approaches are applicable in their given states. And possibly even the federal government will decide to enter this field and also take a look at the Minnesota model.
Startup costs for the program will come from a 5-cent a pack increase to the state's tax on cigarettes. Next on Nightside, one of the country's busiest airports closes for 6 hours. And we'll have the story of an earthquake and a baby. Those stories next on Nightside.
Hi, I'm Tim Paulson, Vice President of Hair Club for Men. And of course, I'm also a client. I'm proud to announce that Hair Club has just made a dramatic improvement in our strand-by-strand system of hair replacement, the Polyfuse method. Call our toll-free number now and we'll send you our new brochure describing in detail our latest innovation, the Polyfuse method.
So why call it Polyfuse? Because by applying a polymer to your existing hair, it will literally fuse with the new hair we add. And believe me, even when I run my fingers through Sean's hair, it still feels natural, like his own, even when the hair blows around. It looks very natural. Even when wet, Gerard's hair still looks like it's all his own.
So make sure you call our toll-free number now to find out more about our dramatic improvement, the Polyfuse method from Hair Club for Men.
Don't forget, we stand behind it. And remember, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
A blowout and small fire on a nose wheel of a Delta Airlines jet stranded the plane in the middle of LaGuardia Airport. Officials had to shut down the airport for about 6 hours during the afternoon and evening until the plane could be moved. 500 flights were affected. A witness credited the plane's pilot with keeping the L-1011 from careening off the runway despite the missing front wheel. In business news, Dean Shepard reports some positive signs for an economic recovery.
A pair of bright lights on the economic horizon. New orders for durable goods shot up 1.6% in March, a much sharper gain than expected. The other bright light, initial claims for unemployment dipped by 12,000 to 404,000 in the latest reporting period. That's the lowest level in 6 months. And there is some encouraging news from Detroit as well. General Motors reports its mid-April auto sales rose 6.9% from year-ago levels, while Ford reports a 10.7% gain. However, the annual selling rate is still at near recession levels. For the first time in 5 years, Toyota says it plans to cut production at one of its Japanese factories due to slow sales domestically. A Toyota spokesman says sales of Japanese cars and trucks slipped almost 3% from year-ago levels during the first 3 months of this year. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished with a gain of almost 10 points at 3348.61. In corporate news, the Justice Department has joined a $250 million civil lawsuit against Teledyne. The company is accused of falsifying test results on sophisticated weapons and aircraft, including the space shuttle. That's a look at business news. I'm Dean Shepard for Nightside.
Folks in Oklahoma were outraged last week after 55 partially burned fetuses were found in a vacant lot. Now Oklahoma is working on a measure to outlaw the dumping of aborted fetuses. Oklahoma House members unanimously passed the bill Thursday. It now goes to the Senate. It requires aborted human fetuses to be cremated, buried, or released to the family for appropriate burial. Thursday, a funeral was held for abandoned fetuses. Oklahoma had no law covering the disposal of fetuses. A spokesman of the new law said the conscience of the state was shocked. Meteorologist Bob Ryan is here now with the latest weather.
For the most part, clear skies around the east. You can see some clouds that have moved now overnight into Ohio and parts of western New York State. They're causing some scattered showers, thunder showers, but that area of cloudiness and showers will continue to move on in New England as the night progresses. Meanwhile, another area of showers and some thunder showers out through the Rocky Mountain states. Overnight low temperatures have been once again very low in the 20s through parts of northern Minnesota and on into Wyoming and Colorado. For the day ahead, it will be one more mild to warm day along the East Coast before some colder air spreads in for the weekend. Daytime temperatures through parts of Iowa on into Minnesota only in the 40s, so rather cold through the western and lakes in the northern plains. Meanwhile, the heat will be on through parts of the desert southwest. Well, southern parts of Arizona will start getting near 100 degrees. The area of storminess and rain will continue to spread on through New England. Then during the afternoon, there'll be showers and thunder showers once again through the Appalachians. It'll be warm on into Florida, while much of the central part of the country will be sunny, but still chilly around the western lakes with some snow flurries, parts of western Michigan, upper Michigan, and also Minnesota. That's the latest on the weather. Bob Ryan for Nightside.
Next in Hellside, you no doubt heard of sperm banks. In a minute, we'll take you to an egg bank for women. And later in sports, Mark Barker has some bang-up action from Major League Baseball.
Jack Patton, publisher of Business Week.
I'm proud that so many leading companies advertise in our pages. American Express, AT&T, General Motors. Business Week ad pages read like a who's who of business. Why do so many successful companies choose our pages to tell their stories? Because they're trying to reach people like you. People who are successful themselves or well on their way to being there. Just look at the numbers. You see, I'm just as proud of our readers too, because they help make Business Week the world's #1 business magazine. America's most successful business people read Business Week because it's simply the best source for objective reporting and thoughtful analysis of the week's business news, from international trade to personal finance. They get the full story in our pages every week. And that brings me to your subscription to Business Week. Whether you've already arrived or on the way up, you should subscribe to Business Week right now. You will be in excellent company.
Now is the time to subscribe to Business Week, because right now you can get 28 issues of Business Week for the low rate of $24.95, a savings of more than 64% off the cover price. It's all the business news you need every week, the kind of value real success is built on. And with your paid subscription, Business Week will send you the compact data bank, absolutely free. The data bank is more than a calculator. It also stores all your important phone numbers and doubles as a digital clock. Remember, it's free with your paid subscription to Business Week. Here's how to subscribe.
Subscribe today and get all the week's business news delivered to your home or office. Just call 1-800-342-2800. and we'll send you 28 issues of Business Week for only $24.95. That's just 89 cents an issue. This low rate saves you $45 off the cover price. The data bank is free with your paid subscription. That number again is 1-800-342-2800. Call now.
In HealthSide this morning, news of the latest development for women who are unsuccessful conceiving children. First, there were sperm banks. Now there are egg donor programs for women. Ileana Bravo has details.
In his novel, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley describes chilling visions of baby farming, where children are grown outside the womb, a scary future where scientific technology replaces human reproduction. We're not at that point, and hopefully never will be. But already, from the first test tube baby fertilized outside the womb in 1979, there are 44,000 children in the world who were hatched in this procedure called in vitro fertilization. Today, more and more women with fertility problems are taking all the options modern science has to offer rather than face a childless future.
Hi, Daddy.
Case in point, this South Florida couple, parents of a 3-year-old.
I didn't want my cancer and my loss of my uterus to stop me from having more children.
She still has her ovaries, so there's still hope for children. How?
Since we both have our egg and sperm, then we can be biological parents. We need a womb to grow the child in.
They're interviewing candidates for the role of host womb or surrogate mother. Their second chance at parenthood is made possible because of one of South Florida's most unique and newest fertility programs.
The needle aspirates the eggs.
Dr. Michael Jacobs runs the egg donor program at Baptist Hospital. Similar to sperm donor programs, they look for women to serve as human egg farms, donating their eggs to other women who are unable to produce their own.
As much as I had a love for children, knowing if I was not able to conceive on my own, I would want someone to be out there for me to give me the opportunity.
At 31, this mother of 2 young children decided to give someone else a chance at motherhood. The woman in this couple is lucky enough to serve as her own egg donor for in vitro fertilization. But here's how a classic case of egg donation works. The egg donor is put on 2 to 3 weeks of fertility drug injections to stimulate her to produce many eggs during her cycle. Then the eggs are suctioned out of her ovaries using a probe with a needle attached. The eggs are then mixed or fertilized with the recipient's husband's sperm in a laboratory dish. 2 to 3 of the fertilized eggs, now embryos, are then transferred using a tiny catheter through the recipient's cervix and into her uterus.
The patient is allowed to rest comfortably here for 3 to 4 hours following the embryo to transfer to let the embryo sort of settle into the uterus.
Then they wait to see if the embryos stay implanted and there's a pregnancy. It's all done in a comfortable office home setting. But unlike sperm donors, it's not an easy process for egg donors.
It's more of an emotional process to go through as well as more physically demanding.
The donor gets $1,000 for each donating cycle. A single attempt cost recipients about $10,000, and it's all done anonymously. So how do couples choose their egg donor?
They're not giving name, addresses, phone numbers. They are given general physical characteristics as well as information about family background.
But is there the temptation for donors to want to track those babies they helped make?
I don't have any intent of trying to find this child. I just hope it gets a good life.
I'm Ileana Bravo for NBC News.
With us now to discuss egg donor programs is Dr. Wallace Nunley Jr. for the Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Is this a trend, Dr. Nunley, that we're seeing elsewhere across the country?
Yes, the actual donor egg program is a relatively new aspect of assisted reproductive technologies, and more women are looking into this as a possible way for them to achieve pregnancy.
If a woman wants to do this, if she says this may be the answer for me, what questions would you suggest to her that she ask?
Well, if she's an individual herself who has the eggs to give and yet doesn't have a uterus or a womb for the pregnancy to reside, then she would look towards a surrogate mother, and basically that's more of a psychological profile as well as a medical history as opposed to genetics necessarily, because it would be the woman's egg and her husband's sperm that would yield the embryo.
What about in this specific case, though, where this is a donor egg program?
If you actually have a donor egg program, they go through similar screening as we do for sperm bank or sperm donors, which has to do not only with genetic screening, but also screening for sexually transmitted diseases and other aspects of recessive disorders and also health questions.
We recently had a case in Virginia where a doctor was found guilty of using his own sperm to impregnate patients. Do you think there are enough safeguards in place for parents who want to go this route to have a child?
Through current sperm bank usage in this country, it's recommended that you use a frozen sperm sample as opposed to a fresh sample. The main reason that we've switched on that recommendation has been because of the onset of the forefront of AIDS. And so there's an incubation period past which the donor is retested, and if found again to be negative for the sexually transmitted diseases as well as AIDS, then his sperm specimens are released for usage, and that's about 6 months.
Dr. Nunley, thank you very much for joining us to talk about this issue. You're watching NBC Nightside.
To take personal advantage of undiscovered profit opportunities, call this number now and get free the next 4 issues of the Kiplinger Washington Letter, Kiplinger's weekly report that answers the gut questions that directly affect you, your business, your investments, taxes, your career. Kiplinger goes beyond the news of the day and delivers reliable forecasts that you can act on in business. Call today and receive as a bonus Investments for Today and Tomorrow, this timely 48-page guide packed with profit-making insights. There's no risk, no obligation. Be a Kiplinger Washington insider. Don't get caught short. Call 1-800-453-9504. We'll bill you later for the year's subscription. If not satisfied, return the bill marked canceled and you owe nothing. You keep the issues and the bonus gift free. Call 1-800-453-9504. That's 1-800-453-9504.
$14.92. Well, now, I mean, it's $19.92 now.
Well, somebody's having a party.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a great celebration somewhere.
Somewhere, maybe on an island.
What island?
In the Caribbean.
Give me a hint,
okay. Where Columbus himself said, all the islands are very beautiful, but this exceeds them all.
Oh, well, of course, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the quincentennial. Oh, I want to be there.
Oh, me too. Call that number, honey.
Hand me the phone, will you?
Sure.
You'd rather walk than drive an American car. You think no American car can match the quality of an import. You figure if it isn't foreign, it isn't for you. You wouldn't give an American car the time of day. Well, in case you haven't noticed, times have changed. Introducing the new Skylark. This is the Buick that's going to change a lot of impressions about Buick.
Mark Berger is here now with sports and the playoffs. They take a while, don't they, Mark?
Yeah, it seems like they go on forever. Not quite. Just a very long time. Yeah, definitely. Last season, one of the hottest series in the NBA playoffs featured Boston and Indiana, and the Pacers took the Celtics down to the final moments of the 5th game before losing. Last night, it was rematch time, and in the final seconds of the first half, the Pacers brought it up, and Reggie Miller hits the three-pointer to beat the buzzer, and this game was tied at halftime. Now, with Larry Bird and Dee Brown still sidelined for Boston, Indiana hung in there. Reggie Miller gives them the lead in the 4th quarter with that nifty move, but Boston rallied. Robert Parrish put down 19 points. Reggie Lewis had 36, and the Celtics came back to take game 1, 124-113. Elsewhere in the NBA, we had the Cavaliers beating the Nets in their series opener. Brad Daugherty had 40. The Trailblazers did end the Lakers, and Sean Kemp had 28 to push Seattle past Golden State. NHL playoff action last night. The Devils and the Rangers both battling for the upper hand in their best-of-7 set. They started the night tied at 1 game apiece, and they were tied at 1 goal apiece in the second before Scott Stevens knocked in this rebound shot to give New Jersey the lead for good in the game. And then in the third, Claude Vilgrain got an insurance goal, and New Jersey won it 3-1. They lead the series 2-1. Elsewhere in the NHL, we had the Penguins beating the Caps 6-4. Washington still leads that series, though. Hartford's up on Montreal 5-2 the final, and Boston beat Buffalo 3-2. In baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers handed Roger Clemens his second loss of the young season yesterday, and the big hero for the Brew Crew was Dante Bichette. Despite some miserable playing conditions, Bichette came through with this single to drive home the go-ahead run in the third inning. And then later on, Mr. Bichette made the big catch off the Ellis Burks fly ball, and he will pay for it as he goes crashing into the County Stadium wall. But he hung on, so did the Brewers. Final 3-2. Around the American League, we had Seattle 3-2 over Minnesota. It was Toronto beating Cleveland, Baltimore over Kansas City, and Detroit winning over Texas. In the National League, some dramatics at Shea Stadium yesterday. The Mets and Cardinals were scoreless in the bottom of the 13th until Juan Augusto nailed Darryl Boston with the bases loaded. That brought in the game-winning run. New York beat St. Louis 1-0. Elsewhere in the National League, we had Montreal over Pittsburgh 6-3, the Mets again a winner, and Philadelphia 8-2 victors over the Cubs. Lots going on in sports.
All right, thanks, Mark. We'll be back with more of Nightside after this.
More than 1 million satisfied Oarsman customers say it best.
Got good money for the truck itself. You know, saved a lot of money.
As a first-time buyer, they treated me very well here at Oarsman Dodge.
They had the car that I wanted, and they gave me the deal that I wanted.
I've always come back here because they beat everybody else's price.
Oarsman Dodge and Oarsman Suzuki, Alexandria, where you get your way every day.
On the next hard copy, one guy caught in the middle of two strippers. One, a dancer in San Francisco's wildest sex party of the year. Police say the other was jealous enough to hire a hitman to do in her rival.
She voiced a little bit of concern about getting caught.
In court, her alleged plot was revealed, but she says it was all a love game gone too far. Was it murder for hire? On hard copy.
Friday at 4 on Channel 4.
Going through the teenage years is never easy, but it's especially tough for teens on an Indian reservation. Mary Kim Tietla tells us that severe depression is leading to alcohol abuse and, in some cases, even suicide.
Adam Begay and Charlene Martinez grew up in the San Javier district on the Thon-Occam Reservation. Students here did not participate in the study on Native American youth, but experts say they are at risk of having health and social problems. According to the study, 1 in 4 Indian boys is a problem drinker by the end of high school, and nearly 1 in 6 Indian teenagers has attempted suicide. These statistics concern many Native American parents. Sylvester Oliver knows how devastating alcohol abuse can be.
I've seen some of my friends that kept on drinking. They're not around nowadays. They're gone.
Oliver says part of the problem is the lack of things to do on the reservation, including job and recreational opportunities. Begay and Martinez agree. Youth activities are now being offered, but Martinez says students need variety.
It's a lot of sports, but a lot of kids don't really care for sports. Maybe like a painting class or pottery class or other little activities for them.
It's my advice for those where the rate of suicide is higher, is to teach them more cultural and to learn more about themselves and to take pride in who they are and what they are.
High self-esteem. Some say for Indian youth, it's the key to a better future. In Tucson, Mary Kim Tietla for NBC News.
Students say the reservations don't have adequate alcohol or drug treatment programs.
More than 1 million satisfied Oarsman customers say it best.
I would say I probably saved between $1,000 and $2,000 coming to Oarsman Toyota.
We shopped around the 3 largest Honda dealerships in the area, and at Oarsman we saved about $2,000.
I did check around a lot all the way down to Greensboro, North Carolina, but I got a real good price out here at Oarsman Mitsubishi.
Oarsman Fairfax Toyota, Virginia. Oarsman Honda, Bethesda, Maryland. And Oarsman Mitsubishi, Marlow Heights, Maryland, where you get your way every day.
Glamour Shots, high fashion photography. A Glamour Shots photo session gives you a complete makeover. Hairstyling, wardrobe selection, 12 to 15 poses, and instant viewing of your color video proofs. Come in and have some fun.
Bring mom or a friend and get 2 for the price of 1 Mother's Day special.
Here's the dealer you can depend on for more value. Chevy Chase Chevyland. Blaze new trails in a new S10. Chevyland value priced $157 a month. Own this new 92 Cavalier. Chevyland value priced $160 a month. Kick up a storm in this new Geo. Chevyland value priced $216 a month. Great selection, superior service. Come buy the cars more people depend on from the dealer you can depend on for more value. Chevy Chase Chevyland. Nobody beats the heartbeat of Bethesda. Nobody.
On the next Maury Povich Show.
If a man does not control his sperm, believe me, a woman will control it for him.
Fighting words for sure. See, Mom's pregnant again, and Dad's mad about it.
If Rainer has this child, will you leave?
That's tough at this point. I really don't know.
It's the battle over baby.
Then we reunited 2 sisters last fall, and now we've found 4 more. 6 sisters and 1 humdinger of a sister reunion on the next Maury. Friday at 3 on Channel 4.
Along with baseball and buds on the trees, butterflies are one of the sure signs of spring. But in California, there's been a butterfly invasion. Maurice Dubois has more.
The painted lady butterfly is everywhere.
As you can see, they're quite fast.
Entomologist Larry Allen wants a closer look.
Okay, got it.
This year, the little lady's annual migration from Baja to Oregon is taking on biblical proportions.
The last one I witnessed was several years ago, probably 6, 7 years ago. All the cars are coming in like this.
Thanks to the painted lady, car wash dealers are getting some extra business and drivers some extra hassle.
It's nasty. It's nasty. I hate to even roll my window down sometimes.
They're just everywhere. It's neat. We like them.
You like them?
Yeah.
Some people find it kind of disgusting when they hit the windshield.
No. They bounce.
We have quite a few.
Bottom line, as far as entomologists are concerned, the huge migration won't harm anyone. The painted lady will only be around another 10 days or so. And given all the hazards they run into, only about a quarter of the 19 million painted ladies will make it all the way to Oregon.
This just goes to show that we do have still a large, heavy butterfly population in the state of California, which is good news to me.
Maurice Dubois for NBC News.
So how many butterflies are there? Billions. Yes, that's with a B. I'm Sarah James, and this is NBC Nightside, a production of the NBC News Channel, Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning, I'm Sarah James, and this is NBC Nightside. Mexican officials are trying to discover what caused a series of deadly explosions in Guadalajara. But in the meantime, residents are terrified there could be more. Diane Diaz reports from the disaster area.
Today, more evacuations in the Reforma district of Guadalajara. Authorities fear there is still gas in the sewage pipelines that could cause more explosions. Even as the tense situation continued, the people who lived here began to pick up the pieces. The first order of business for many, finding loved ones. Crowds gathered outside a makeshift morgue, checking the lists of those confirmed dead. This woman looks for a missing sister, not on the list. Inside, the graphic reality. Families forced to positively identify the bodies and fill out reports. This young woman found her 3-week-old nephew in the morgue. She says the baby was home with his mother and his 4-year-old brother when the explosion threw them into the air. The mother and 4-year-old survived. The baby did not. Authorities are still trying to figure out what caused the series of explosions. One investigator showed up at the cooking oil factory, which was implicated in the tragedy. Finger pointers claim the factory leaked a dangerous solvent, liquid hexane.
We don't have any leaks at all. We have 4 tanks, and we know for sure that there is no leak
You can see some of the destruction from the explosion right here in front of the cooking oil factory, a huge crater right in the middle of the street. But the owners insist that this factory is not connected to this particular underground pipeline. At this point, more and more people are blaming the state-controlled oil company for the disaster, that's Pemex, but the oil company continues to insist that it had no part in the tragedy. In Guadalajara, Mexico, Diane Diaz, Nightside.
Fighting continues in the breakaway Yugoslav Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Exploding mortar shells could be heard throughout Sarajevo's old Muslim city center. European community negotiators had hoped to broker a ceasefire between the Serbs, Muslims, and Croats. But that ceasefire crumbled Thursday, causing the UN Security Council to delay a planned statement on the situation in Bosnia. The UN has 14,000 peacekeeping forces in the area, some of whom have been caught up in the fighting. A car apparently out of control careened through a crowded Greenwich Village park Thursday. When it finally came to a stop, 4 people had been killed, 23 were injured. Police say the 74-year-old driver lost control of the car and when it finally stopped, got out and began walking away. The park was crowded with sunbathers, NYU students, and children. Police have not filed charges against the driver. Also in New York, 3 more defendants were found guilty of murdering Utah tourist Brian Watkins on a subway platform in 1990. A total of 6 people now have been convicted in the gang attack against Watkins and his family, who were visiting New York for the U.S. Open tennis tournament. The 3 face 25 years to life in prison when they're sentenced next month. A 7th defendant in the case will be tried later this year. Former Washington Mayor Marion Barry says he's emerged from prison better and not bitter. He was released after serving a 6-month sentence for cocaine possession. Tom Sherwood has more on the story.
The faithful came before dawn, ready to ride 4 hours to Pennsylvania. The Love Caravan carried about 300 Barry fans through farmlands and rolling hills. A TV crew from Holland tried for this moving close-up. And this is what they all came for.
Victory is mine. Oh, victory. Victory is the day. Oh, victory today is mine. Joy is mine. Joy is mine.
Barry was a free man.
I come out of prison better. Yeah. And not bitter.
Yeah. The hotel staff wasn't quite sure what to make of all of it. Barry shook hands, posed for pictures, put off questions on politics.
If I were to run for office, I would not be seeking the endorsement of elected officials.
Late in the day, Barry boarded the bus for the long ride home to Washington, choosing to ride with a bus full of Ward 8 residents who may do their next favor for him in the voting booth.
Tom Sherwood reporting. The operator of a small daycare center in North Carolina has been sentenced to 12 consecutive life prison terms. 44-year-old Robert Kelly Jr. professed his innocence before the judge gave him 1 life sentence for each child molested. When we come back on Nightside, more about the Big Bang Theory.
Hi, I'm Tim Paulson, Vice President of Hair Club for Men. And of course, I'm also a client. I'm proud to announce that Hair Club has just made a dramatic improvement in our strand-by-strand system of hair replacement, the Polyfuse method. Call our toll-free number now and we'll send you our new brochure describing in detail our latest innovation, the Polyfuse method.
So why call it Polyfuse? Because by applying a polymer to your existing hair, it will literally fuse with the new hair we add. And believe me, even when I run my fingers through Sean's hair, it still feels natural, like his own, even when the hair blows around. It looks very natural. Even when wet, Gerard's hair still looks like it's all his own.
So make sure you call our toll-free number now to find out more about our dramatic improvement, the Polyfuse method from Hair Club for Men.
Don't forget, we stand behind it. And remember, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
It's the big scientific question. How was the universe formed? Thursday, a major discovery in astronomy uncovered the largest and oldest structures in the universe. Wispy clouds that might show how the Big Bang led to the formation of stars and galaxies 15 billion years ago. Scientists say it's looking like the holy grail of astronomy. The discovery was made by NASA's Cosmic Background Explorer satellite. The total cost of that mission is put at $400 million. Turning now to business news, the stock market edged higher. A major soft drink company says it's going public, and Kraft is recalling some of its ice cream. Dean Shepard has details.
Blue chip stocks closed Thursday with a modest gain as investors bought up cyclical issues likely to do well in an economic recovery. The Dow Jones Industrials climbed almost 10 points to finish at 33.48. Drug stocks figured prominently in Thursday's trading. Johnson & Johnson was one of the day's most active stocks, down 2 1/8 to 90 7/8. The health and personal care giant posted first quarter earnings of $1.39 a share. That's up 11% from a year ago, but slightly below Wall Street's expectations. The company also set a 2-for-1 stock split and boosted its quarterly dividend 15% to 46 cents a share. The nation's third largest soft drink maker has officially launched plans to go public. Dr. Pepper 7-Up has filed for SEC permission to offer 28 million common shares. The company wants to raise about $600 million to pay down outstanding debt and retire preferred stock. If you're allergic to peanuts and live in the West, you might want to check the chocolate ice cream in your freezer. Kraft Foods, which markets the brand named Knudsen, Stater Brothers Deluxe, and Breyers, is recalling the chocolate ice cream because it may contain a peanut product that could trigger a fatal allergic reaction. That's a look at business news. I'm Dean Shepard for Nightside.
In Chicago, officials are still finding out the details of how a problem with bridge piling smashed through a freight tunnel wall and it got out of control. Meantime, Vice President Dan Quayle was in Chicago for a briefing by Mayor Richard Daley and Governor Jim Edgar. The federal government has agreed to pay for 75% of the cleanup, but the vice president discouraged hopes for additional aid. Engineers say they'll still meet their May 1st target for draining millions of gallons of water out of the old freight tunnel. Meteorologist Bob Ryan is here now with a look at the weather.
Some nighttime showers and thunder showers have swept through Ohio, moving on into New York State, and another area out through Nebraska and Iowa with a few lonesome showers. No big storm, but that moisture will continue moving toward the east and eventually cause a rather cloudy, wet weekend through much of the east and the northeast. Out west, there's also another area of cloudiness coming ashore. Nighttime temperatures in the